So, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my Coffee of Stories. And today, along with you is Khush, Sharaff, your podcast host, and along with me, we have Stephen, one of the
Hi
proud,
guys.
successful owners and the owner of agency which he runs,
Quick media.
Quick Media, and he runs the agency in the niche of e-commerce, which is a difficult niche, and he has success in that as well. So, guys, and we're going to be talking about him specifically, but I can tell you this person has overutilized the app named Fiverr for this his entire agency, and we can't really relate to him, man. So we are going to be like thanking him to be coming on the podcast, and so because this person is a real G. So what's up, Stephen?
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you, man, for the introduction. I love that. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Really glad we hopped on this podcast together. Yeah, as you said, I do run an agency, and I do mostly get my clients through Fiverr, which is a lot of people find Fiverr controversial for some reason. But yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. Really nice to be talking to you, meet you, and yeah, have fun on this podcast
Perfect,
today.
man. So, Stephen, I'm gonna be really going deep into your introduction and your what your journey is about to the so we can the audience can learn more about yourself. But first, I would want to give a specific reason to the audience that why they should be listening to you, right? So, would you mind telling us how much you have made till now in terms of the revenue and part, if that's comfortable with you?
Yeah, that's totally fine. To be honest, I think the last 30 days have been the best we've done so far. Like the previous best month was February, where we did like 6.5k in revenue. But in the past 30 days, yeah, I literally like went to my Fiverr metrics before this call, and it was close to 9k in revenue, which is pretty dope.
So, guys, it was $9,000 to be honest in revenue, not dirhams, not INR, revenue in dollars. And specifically, I can
Yeah.
tell you about this. In the agency space, the revenue share, you can get almost 80 to 90% profit. So, you can imagine the amount of money he has generally made. And this person is a real, true valued person. You can learn each and everything about him, and you can have a lot of things which he can make you help you understand and generate you more money and rather a build disciplined life in your own personal branding, and that's gonna help you so much in life. You can just vow to yourself that today I'm gonna take this podcast, I'm gonna hear it, and I'm gonna implement each and every step that Kush and Stephen are gonna share in this podcast. And then I can truly share that you guys are gonna change your life forever, and that's gonna be helping you guys. I wanna see some comments on that for sure. But Stephen, we're gonna be jumping on your introduction and stuff. So, man, how did you make your money and stuff? So let's start with that.
Yeah, do you wanna hear the whole story, or do you wanna hear like the main part of how I started my
Um,
agency?
let's go on the bit controversial part. So, from where you started and where you ended. So, you're starting and the beginning and the ending. So, in like a brief version, but the entire story.
Yeah, okay. I started my editing journey in the beginning of 2023. That's where I was in a place that I really needed to make some money. Like I was still in high school. I was in my third year of high school, and I really wanted to make some money online. So yeah, what better way than start doing freelance? And at the time, I had the skill of video editing. I learned that uh, in the past like few years. I was running a YouTube channel, creating content. So yeah, I had the skill of video editing, and yeah, I wanted to monetize that skill. So yeah, that's how I created my Fiverr account. And yeah, basically, it was pretty tough in the beginning, like getting clients. Like Fiverr does not like new sellers. Like it's not very friendly when it comes to new sellers. So for the first like 2 to 3 months, it was like really like I was literally not getting any work. But yeah, soon enough it started taking off. Like I started utilizing some of the things into my page, like implementing like improving my VSL, improving my offer. And yeah, it started taking off until the middle of last year, like the summer of last year. That's where it actually became a full-time job. So I was actually learning. I was actually earning a full-time income editing videos, and yeah, I mean, it was I was pretty happy with what I was doing at the moment. But then in September, the school was about to start, so I realized I did not have time anymore to edit all the videos. And yeah, I looked into different ways to kind of free up my time and make more money at the same time. So that's how I decided to start my agency. And yeah, from
Perfect.
there, yeah, that's basically kind of the journey. From there, we went into I got pulled into these waters of advertising and e-commerce. So we ended up doing mostly ad productions for e-commerce brands. Obviously, nowadays I have a team of editors, and I'm looking to expand my team always with copywriters and media buyers. So yeah, I mean, things are looking pretty good. Still use Fiverr, love Fiverr. People don't agree with me, but yeah, it is what I kind of what I
So,
use.
guys, you did notice one part which Stephen said that people don't agree with me, and I would say that's a trait for successful men, which I discussed with Patrick on the last podcast with you guys. Is guys, when you're gonna stand out from the audience, and that's when you're gonna make the most amount of money. To be honest, and that's the entire thing, man. We can't really be doing anything else, right, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, and in today's podcast, we are always gonna be talking about habits. That's a big interesting topic. Big chunk of your day and lifestyle, and that's gonna be something which you guys realize that it's not really important, but to be honest, that's the most important thing you can ever deal in your life with. And if you don't know how to manifest on your habits, then you won't be able to be successful. To be honest, and that's the harsh reality. So, without any further ado, we are gonna be getting into the habits point of view. So, Stephen, um, what are habits as for you?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, habits are kind of everything. Like whether we realize it or not, like each action we take is actually based on a particular habit, a cue, like a trigger that leads us to doing some sort of action. So I mean, it's pretty much like the driver of your life, and many people don't realize it. People who do realize it, they either just they either try to improve them, or they kind of just acknowledge them. So I mean, yeah, in my daily life, definitely, it's important to build great habits and break the bad ones.
Exactly, man, and
Yeah,
that's
I think that's definitely what we're going to cover a bit, get a bit more into it. I also have this book. It's a really great book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, the classic
that
on habits.
the classic, the OG, and
Yeah,
Robert Greene, actually one of the best writers I have ever seen. So he wrote a book named The 40 Laws of Power and The Laws of
yeah.
Mastery. Those also went pretty viral, and like not only viral, but they went so much in value that I can't even compare that. Atomic Habits by James Clear is out of the way. We can't really comment on that part, to be honest. I don't think I have the that authority in myself to comment on that book because it's way too strong, way too powerful for any beginner to read about, and that's really, really honest. So, guys, we're gonna be asking and we're covering a few questions in this podcast, so you can hear a bit more about habits and how to build them and how to have a consistent habit going on for your life, right? So, Stephen, what is the number one habit that led to your success till now?
number one habit. Well, yeah, give me a moment. I mean, there's like number one habit, probably like keeping track of your habits. But yeah, I mean, there's just lots of things involved, like from working out to eating proper foods to sleeping. Like it's all of these things combined, and you really can't put a focus on one habit specifically. Like it's all like habits is literally what builds your life, and I don't think I can pick one habit. Like there's so many things that goes into it, whether that's reading, whether that's yeah, going to the gym, working on your projects, spending focused time, doing deep
Well,
work.
Stephen, I've got a comment on this. So, as you said, there's no specific habit which really evolves around your success. But I would really want to comment that I've seen in many people that the number one habit which they have is scheduling their day and having tasks laid out the night before they do the stuff. So, for the next day, they have the task laid out beforehand, and that has made them a lot of fortune in their life. I had have a talk with around people making $250,000 per month, which is a pretty big amount, and they are saying that the best thing which helped me in my beginning stages were planning my day out. I rather, so guys, there are like I also have tried planning my day out, and sometimes schedules change. To be honest, sometimes I have sudden movements going on in my life, which I do have to alter according to my schedule, right? So I can't be sticking to one schedule path for the entire life. So what I would suggest you guys, as per my own thinking, is have a specific amount or a specific task laid out for your next day, which when you complete that, you think, okay, my day is complete. If you don't complete that, then you don't go to sleep. When you go to the night at your bed, you realize that, okay, I'm not complete that task. You get back up, you complete it, and then you go back to sleep. And that's what makes my day actually. And if not, I don't really like to be in my comfort zone, in my sleep zone, and actually chill with my, let's say, friends and my peers. And then I don't really like that. So number one topic as per me for habits is go ahead, schedule tasks out, and that will make you a fortune.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree. Definitely. Like that should be a habit of its own. Like definitely like finish the day with like at the end of the each day. That's something I also really love to implement is before I go to sleep, I always prepare for the next day, like keep track of all the tasks and separate kind of the segments of the day where I'm doing what sort of task, which really, yeah, really helps me stay organized. And even like if you can figure it out on an hourly schedule, that's even better.
So
So
I think covering that really makes our what are actual habits and what are some common habits you guys can build. You guys actually, I would suggest you guys to think about your own lifestyle at the moment. You can think about what are your current habits, what are you facing, and what are you doing at the moment. So the best thing which I have heard in my life is you can do something after you have realized it. So you can only make a change when you have realized something is wrong, right? So go ahead over your day schedule at the moment, and then you can realize that what's wrong and what's right, and then you can even actually build a habit which gonna sustain you for longer. With that being said, I think I have a question for Stephen actually on this exact same path. So Stephen, I know that you are a big boy player right now and making thousands of bucks right now. But let's say that I know that you have built many habits in your life till now, and that's a really, really like commendable part which most people are not able to do in their entire life. So, what are some common pitfalls you think that occur in people's life while they are trying to break free of a bad habit?
yeah, I mean the things that like one thing that could probably help most people out in trying to break bad habits is first you need to acknowledge. You really need to be self-aware. Like self-awareness is one part of the process, and really acknowledging what you're doing in each day and actually being able to identify what's good, what habits are good, what habits are not good. Like that's the first part of the process. Like, and many people don't even get that right. Like many people don't have this clear self picture of themselves, and if that's the case, then go ahead and ask one of your friends, family, like probably not even people that are very close to you, ideally someone who doesn't know you very well, because there's a chance that those people will be more honest with you, and they wouldn't care as much in hurting your feelings. So yeah, first step of the process is definitely um, getting self-aware. Do you want to add anything to that, or do we want to head straight into the next points?
So, what I would be really adding is, guys, once you start, let's say, trying to break free of a bad habit, what really I think is, I totally agree on the path that Stephen said, that you have to become self-aware of your problems at the moment. But I also got to add something to that, saying, so guys, listen, if you keep letting your mind take over you, then you're gonna be actually not be able to break out of that bad habit. So when you, like, listen guys, when you're trying to break off your bad habit, your brain is gonna play tricks with you. Not one trick, not 20 tricks, not 30 tricks, 100 thousands of tricks, and it's gonna try to actually become your worst enemy. It's gonna try to take you back in that bad habit. So I had a friend of mine who had tried to smoke like cigarettes and stuff, which I did support him in a lot. But what happened is, after 1 month when he stopped cigarettes, then it crept back in, and then he started doing smoking again. Because the point is, once you leave the exact same thing which you love doing, like there's a bad habit, and you start leaving that, and you come up ahead in your life, what really happens is, it emerges in your life as a necessity to complete. So it emerges as a need for your brain to signal you to go over that. That's why I would suggest you listen to your heart all the time when you're having those urges, and that's going to take you for so long. I can't really imagine that. I even had bad urges itself, so that made me go over different wrong paths which I shouldn't have gone over. And I would suggest you guys to keep be aware of those paths, and be aware of those urges which you can control in your mind. And the biggest thing which I feel, that Stephen and I are both gonna agree on, is, if you can't control your mind, you are fucked for your life for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I agree on that part, like on agree on that point, but also y- you really need to find, like, it's not as easy for lots of people. It's not as easy as just having the willpower, because willpower, it's related to motivation, and motivation, it changes. You don't always have the same levels of motivation with anything. So in motivation and willpower, that's what pushes you in the beginning
Yep.
to stop doing a certain task. For example, for your friend, yeah, obviously in the beginning he had the motivation to stop smoking cigarettes. But the thing that actually matters is building discipline and replacing that bad habit with a good one, and really kind of filling that gap that you have in your life with something else. And really, really, yeah, discipline is probably the most important. Like having, like, really tracking your progress, and yeah, I mean, just adopting it as something of as something as your own personality, basically, like a
Consistency.
good.
Consistency, that all matters, man. If you don't have consistency, you have nothing.
Yeah,
To be honest, and that's the
absolutely.
entire game plan, man. If you don't have a consistency, even if I give you the exact roadmap of how to break free of a bad habit, and you don't have the consistency and the willpower to complete it, then my piece of gold is gonna become a piece of scrap for you, and that's basically it.
Yeah, and what where lots of people mess up is they go wrong about their identity. Like, you can't change your habit if you don't change your identity first. Like, you can't just say, for a good example of this, imagine a person who says they will, for example, stop smoking cigarettes. Actually, imagine you're at a party and you have two people who stopped smoking cigarettes. You ask the first person, "Hey, do you want a cigarette?" And he will tell you, "No, I'm trying to quit smoking."
Yep.
You ask the second person, "Hey, do you want a cigarette?" And he says, "No, I'm not a smoker." Like, do you see the subtle difference there? Like, the first person is still in that same mindset that he is a smoker. Like, he still considers himself a smoker. And that's why he'll probably find it much harder to quit than the second person who actually managed to change their identity and realize that they're not a smoker. Like, they don't, like, they're the person who doesn't smoke.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
So yeah, that literally relates to anything in life, whether that's good or bad habits. For example, you could say, I'm trying to work out, or I'm trying to go to the gym, I'm trying to build this habit. But no, you should build this identity first, of like, oh, I'm the type of person who exercise, I'm the type of person who goes to gym every day, for example. So yeah, I think that's identity becomes comes before actually successfully building a
Exactly,
habit,
man.
like literally changing yourself and who you are.
And what I feel even comes before building a good habit is the environment you're working in. Okay. So, guys, understand this very clearly. If you hang out with five fools, you're gonna be the sixth one. If you hang out with five idiots, then you're gonna be the sixth one. If you hang out with five smokers, then you're gonna be the sixth one. And if you hang out with five rich men or five powerful men, then you're gonna be the sixth one. It's all relative, man. You have to understand that the moment you decide that my audience and my group and my friend circle, how's it gonna be, that totally shows what you're gonna be in life. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Like for girls, I would say that specifically, that if you see that your friend is going on a wrong path and you don't call them out and you don't just be aware of them and you still like go on with the friendship and continue with them, then it's gonna be a bit of a hazard for you. First of all, for boys it's the exact same thing. Like we boys do have a very good friendship, but at the end of the day you have to understand that what's right and what's wrong. And if you go on the wrong path and you accompany your friend on that path, then it's gonna be a hell for you guys. Actually, you specifically, because that's gonna affect you the most, because you were not even into the shit, but then you went to that shit because of your friend. So understand this, clear environment, and if you don't know what your environment looks like, go ahead, look at your friends, who they are, what are you speaking about. First of all, rather than looking at your friends, go and look at your room. Go and look at the surroundings you are staying in. Like if today I have my room, which is going to be, let's say, what I call as untidy, then that shows who I am. So if someone comes over and see that, okay, you have an untidy room, that shows that you are untidy in your work, in your work ethics, in your work life as well. So that just depicts who I am. So that's why if you see my setup at the moment, it's properly maintained, well maintained. My entire room is clean, right? And so goes for Stephen, man. I'm sure that even though he's earning billions and millions, he does have the time to make his room, man. He does have the time to do that, because that's what really matters, the work environment you have. Right, Stephen?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. Like like your environment is both kind of the reflection of you as a person, but you are also the reflection of your environment,
Exactly.
and you are the people who you're surrounded with. You are the basically you project this persona on your surrounding. So yeah, I mean, I do have, if you're wondering, I do clean up my room, and I do make sure it's always tidy. I mean, just yeah, I mean, just try not leave lots of mess around, so you won't actually need to tidy it up very often.
Exactly, man. And speaking about the fact that I said that he earns millions of dollars, I was speaking about the future tense. Don't take his personal, guys. He is not earning in millions yet, but he is soon gonna be earning in millions. And
Yeah, soon.
after 1 year, you're probably gonna look back on this podcast and see where you have come. So it really becomes so relative, man. It can't really be
Yeah, I
something.
mean, that would be really awesome. Like, yeah, yeah.
And someday I hope you don't forget me, man, because the other day when you come back and see on this podcast, you're gonna be like, okay, man, I did a podcast with Khush and it was
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
amazing.
like I can imagine, like in 1 or 2 years, like I'll be coming into your professional big studio somewhere, like in this huge building, and we're doing like a proper podcast once again.
For sure, man.
Like we're both successful agency owners, business owners.
Exactly, man. And that time we don't really have to think about the stage studio and agency. It's all about the place and the timing, right? We've been doing a podcast
Yeah,
since a private jet, I guess. We were traveling to, let's say, Europe and stuff, and then we record a podcast on the plane. So why not, bro?
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's a good
Absolutely.
idea. Awesome, man. So I think before we go into so earning so much millions of money, coming back to the topic, it all matters about your habits, right? So
Yeah.
if you don't have your habits straight, your life is a mess, to be honest. And you have to realize that, man. If you don't give up on your bad habits. Your bad habits are gonna take you over, and some or the other day you're gonna be feeling like a failure and thinking that, okay, man, I have come this far, but what have I achieved? And the answer will be shit. So don't worry on that part. Just take your head up. Look at the points which you are having at the moment. Look at your habits. Look at your work ethic. Just complete the task which you assign for yourself, and you're gonna gain so much trust in yourself that you can be able to do anything in this life, right? So, Stephen, going on to the next question for you, and this is specifically for you. So, what are some productivity tips that you had at the beginning which had helped you to gain so much confidence in yourself and make so much money?
Yeah, I mean, one of those things would definitely be going to the gym, like starting my journey in the gym. Like, I think that's kind of the starting point. Like, for some reason, I mean, many people may not agree with me at the same time, but like, the bigger I am, the more money I seem to make. So yeah, I mean, it's all related. Like, if I can track it to one point where it kind of started taking it off, to keep taking off, it's when I started going to the gym and actually having this mentality of wanting to build myself, like not necessarily just in the physique way and the way I look, but also like all the other things, like yeah, basically my mindset, my wealth, my kind of everything, my wisdom, if that makes sense. So I mean, yeah, if that's probably like the number one habit I'm most proud of for for actually starting working on myself. So yeah, we can probably call it that.
So, I would suggest on this point is your success relates to the amount of work you do in your actual habitual life, right? The amount of work you do in your life at the beginning and the amount of work you're doing consistently is going to reflect in your business, your personal life, your gym, and whatever you do in life, right? If
Yeah,
you
it's
have
all
the
connected. Yeah.
consistency, it's all connected, man. If you can't understand what you're doing, then it's going to be a bit of a hazard for you to understand where you are going, right?
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you may not even realize it that like because building habits, I mean, building habits is not that hard, but like having the discipline to keep doing the habit long enough pays off, and it won't pay off in the beginning. Like it may not pay off in 1 week, in 1 month, in 1 year. Like it may actually take multiple years to pay off and to actually realize the goal that you had in mind.
Importance.
So that's also one reason most people have trouble
A big
breaking
time.
bad habits and starting good habits, because they don't see the outcome in the beginning, like right away. The outcome may only come like, yeah, months and months in the future or years.
Exactly, man. And Stephen, I wanna ask you something, bro. So, what are some let's say habits which you have built over time which have helped you, like except going to the gym and stuff, like self improvement, what has made you some like type of habits which has made you who you are at the time?
Yeah, I mean, definitely reading is one of them. At the beginning, like I mean, like years ago, like even like 2 to 3 years ago, or even like, yeah, like even like last year, like I did not consider myself a reader. Like I was literally a person who was not reading. Like if someone would suggest a book, I would like, so man, I don't read. Like what about like
We all start
like yeah,
somewhere.
I was a really hard no reader. But then there was a point where all of those people, successful people like Alex Ramosi, Imagaji, and other people online on YouTube, were suggesting all of these books, and I was like, man, stop doing this. Like, I'm not a reader. I don't want to read this. Like, I don't have time for that. But at one point, well, I realized, fuck it, I want to take this seriously. That's where I started reading.
I read one book in my life, and which led to me reading many other books, and that's how it starts. It doesn't. It is relative,
Yeah,
man. It doesn't be like, okay, man, I'm not gonna read.
yeah.
I
It
had
literally
the
takes
thing.
one book to start,
I had the
and you get
thing.
hooked.
Exactly, bro. When I started my journey, man, I had the thing. I'm not gonna read. I'm not gonna read. But that time, I had one of my friends gave me one book, let me borrow it. Then I started reading it, and then I instantly fell in love with the process. And actually,
Yeah,
then I started
and
buying more
part of
books.
the yeah, and part of the process is probably also the surrounding. Like I realized that my surrounding probably had the impact on my opinion on books because all of my friends, like all the friends who I was hanging out with, were strong no readers. Like no one read books. So
Exactly.
yeah, I kind of needed to separate, and yeah, I started reading it, and yeah, I mean, it gets like I got addicted.
Perfectly, man. I
So
think.
yeah, I mean, like this is an interesting fact about me, but I also read in the gym, like between the sets. I like to read.
Oh, oh, you have a Kindle, I guess. Then.
Yeah, I do, but I mean that's mostly for books that I don't have in person. But I'm actually thinking of actually bringing books in person. Like who gives who gives a fuck? Like
Yeah, man. But
imagine like
I
you
feel
finish
like,
a
yeah.
set of bench press, and then just pull up a book and start and start reading.
Bro, that's hilarious, man. I have seen people yawning in between of sets, and now there's gonna be a person reading in between sets, man. It's gonna be crazy, bro.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, kind of like like before that, I used
Stephen,
to just like
bro,
hang
got a
out
question for
on
you.
my phone, like listen to music, like doing a bunch of unproductive things. But then I kind of just replaced that bad habit of scrolling on my phone to actually doing something useful, like reading a book between my sets. So yeah, like I managed to yeah slap two birds with one stone.
Perfect, man. So, Stephen, I got one more thing to ask to you, man. So, you just said that reading books was one of your best habits. Would you mind mentioning a few books? I've also mentioned a few books, and you mentioned a few books. So, let's say three books per person, okay? You tell three books which you think
Ooh.
has helped you, and I'm gonna tell three books which I think are helping me in my life, and I'm sure that are gonna take me for long.
Yeah, okay, let's start. I think the first book I would mention is Think and Grow Rich. Like that was the first book I ever read, like
Napoleon
for my
Hill.
own kind of like that was kind of my choice because previously I only read books that were assigned to me by teachers. I actually did not even read those. I never finished
Exactly.
those
Who cares
books.
about schools,
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's really like, and I was still pretty young. Like I was still in the phase where I'm not reading anything, so it was pretty weird that I ended up reading that book and then continued with the mindset of I don't read. But yeah, like even though I was still in that mindset of not reading, it really kind of shaped the way I look into the world. I'm thinking grow rich. Absolutely. It really opened my mind that actually everything is possible. Like,
Exactly, man.
yeah, basically anything is possible. The
So,
second book,
um,
okay, yeah, you can go first. Yeah, let's go book by book
perfect, perfect. So
if
let's
you
go
want to.
alternate, man.
Yeah.
First book, guys, note it down. First book is Think and Grow Rich by James Clear. I'm from right. That's James Clear, right?
No, Think and Grow Big. It's Napoleon Hill,
Yeah,
Jim.
Napoleon, man. Sorry, man.
Napoleon Hill
So
wrote.
it's
Yeah.
Napoleon Hill. Then the one book I would recommend in about um like meditation and stuff, or let's say in about working on yourself, I would say think it as a man. If you have heard about that book, it's Think It as a Man, and that's a very powerful book. It
Mhm.
also related to Think and Grow Rich, but it is basically on your daily actions which are going to take you on. So it's a book, it's a very flat book. It's around let's say 100 pages at max, but that book is really valuable. I would suggest anyone to go and buy it. It's cost around $2 or $3 at max in India, and in foreign, let's say around $5 at max. But very powerful book, man. Can't really relate to that.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, I'll definitely give it. I'll definitely look it up. I haven't read that one, but I think I've heard of it. So yeah, I mean that's really awesome.
So
So
Stephen,
yeah,
what's your next book, man?
the next book, it might actually be the favorite book I read because it's like really tough and goes into kind of this very mm, yeah, muscular nature. It's it's The Way of Superior Man by David Dieda. If you've heard of that one.
Bro, you have just blown my mind away once again. At the beginning of the call, you did once, and now the second time, man. That book is an absolute masterpiece. If you and go ahead
Yeah,
and read that book,
it
bro,
is.
it is so fucking insane, man. You're gonna
Yeah,
make
like it might actually be my favorite book. Like I
something.
actually, like, fun fact, I actually read it 4 times.
And the second book, actually the fourth book. So first was Think as a Man, then was Think and Grow Rich, then was Think It as a Man. Third, which Stephen mentioned, was The Way of Superior Man. The fourth book, which I would really want to mention, is, but it's on a scale. It's really on a scale. It's a pretty expensive book. I bought a Kindle version of that. That still costed me around $200, I suppose, but
Oh yeah, I think I know the book you're talking about.
it's pretty expensive, and it's breakthrough advertising. It's about a
Yeah,
scale.
yeah, I've heard of that one. Yeah.
It's
Why is
damn
it
good.
so expensive though?
The
Even the Kindle
amount of
version.
value, man. If you have read that book, your advertising becomes so easy, man. Like, it's only about
Really?
the online world. It's not about the offline world. It's only about the online world. And man, that book is gonna make you billions in the upcoming 10 years. To be honest, that's all, man. I can't speak more about that. Otherwise, people are gonna ban me for that for sure. That book is such a piece of gold information. I have just told you guys.
I mean, it must really have some sort of secret inside it because I mean,
Exactly.
$200 for a book,
Oh,
like
that's
too
on Kindle,
expensive.
man. That's on Kindle. That's on
On
Kindle.
Kindle, yeah, I actually looked up and on Amazon it was like 300 or 400,
It's 500
which is
now.
crazy,
It's $500 right now for the
bro.
paper book version of that, and not even the hardcover. It's the paper book
And
version.
how big is the book?
Around 300 pages. Not much.
300 pages. Yeah, I mean that's not that bad. I'll show you a book that I got recently. I still didn't give it a read, but it's pretty thick. It's this one. It's Money, Master the Game, but by Tony Robbins, and it's a
That's
very
amazing,
it's a
man.
very thick book.
Thick book,
But
bro.
yeah, still about to read that one. It's like 600 pages. It's crazy.
So, Stephen, going for your book recommendation, what do you recommend the next book?
The third book, I mean, it's tough. There's multiple routes I could go with, but I'd say The Winner Effect.
Oh, I have
The
not really heard of that, but let's see if I could. I'm gonna search that up,
The
man.
Winner Effect by let me see who wrote it.
Let me see if I can
I think
find
it
it.
was Ian Robertson. I think, yeah, it was Ian Robertson. It's a it's a really powerful book. It basically goes about what makes a winner and how winning shapes your mentality and how specifically how your surroundings, all the ways your surroundings shape basically shape you and
Your
shape your
future.
actions in the world. So it's really, really powerful. I definitely recommend you give it a read. It might actually be my second favorite book next to the Way of Superior Man. Like there, it's a really powerful book. Basically, yeah, going into power and how power affects people. Like like you probably read 48 Laws of Power. Like
Yes,
it
I
really
did.
talks about the laws and power, but this goes more into the effect on the person. Like what's the effect, what effect power has on a person. It's the winner effect. And yeah, it really is interesting uh with lots of nice stories, like real stories from history and the past, so you really get to learn um, from everything.
So, I think I'm gonna check that book out for sure, man. What was the name again? It was Ian something, right?
The Winner Effect by Ian Robertson.
Ian Robertson. Perfect, man. I'm gonna look that up for sure, and I think I'm gonna buy it for sure. The next book, the last book, which I would strongly suggest to anyone with that is going trying to build a habit, and that the podcast is about today. So the best habit which I want to like share with you guys is a book I really have, and that could take you long way, man. Like, it's a habit which we have not mentioned till now, but it's a really powerful habit. So
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah.
Meditation, guys, by Marcus Aurelius, man. Marcus
Meditations.
Aurelius, the G man.
Nice.
This person has like, I saw a real man of this person. So he actually had a servant behind him whenever he went for meetings and stuff. And the servant used to whisper in his ears that you are just a man and you are just a man. Each and every time he used to speak, and that thing made him conquer so much of the earth that it blew his mind away, man. I would really be honest, if I had the opportunity to meet one person and go back in time, that would be Marcus Aurelius for sure.
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, that I think he was quite a savage himself. Like,
Perfect, man.
is he like one of the founders of Stoicism?
Yeah, he is, man. And I would suggest, if anyone is trying to start without something, go ahead and watch Alex Hermosi, Iman Gadzi for sure. Other than him, it's Luke Belmar, but I'm not sure if anyone can relate with him, but you can take a look for sure. Other than that, Andrew Tate, if you want to have some normal life lessons videos, it's not really pretty much, but you can go over that for sure. Otherwise, I'm gonna get banned for sure. If, like, cancelled, I guess, if it is say more names. But guys, so I think I'll just share the number one habit which Stephen and I think are really powerful. That's meditate. Like, that's reading books, and the second which I would suggest is meditations. I think that's what is self-explanatory. I don't really have to go deep with that. You have to meditate for 10 minutes at least per day. That's gonna take you for a long time, and it's gonna keep you calm. Like, back 2 years back, I had anger issues, man. I used to get angry on even small things. If someone misplaced my pen in class and stuff, I would get really angry. But these days, meditating has really changed my life for sure. Stephen, do you want to comment on that, or shall I move on?
Yeah, I mean, I think meditation is really powerful. I personally meditate 15 minutes each day after I wake up, and I've been doing it for probably the last like 2 or 3 months. Like, I started meditation quite recently, but yeah, I mean, it's not just about the process of
Meditation.
yeah, it's not just about like sitting down and making it has many other applications as well. Like, the main point I think is like keeping you more focused and less distracted. Like, sometimes when you're working on a project or something, like, you oftentimes really get obstructed by certain thoughts. Like, you might remember, like, oh fuck, I did not respond to that email yet, or something, and you're doing some deep work, and then you actually go open up an email that leads to you opening up another website that leads to you and remembering to answer remembering to ma- remembering to answer a message on Instagram, and that actually leads into like end up scrolling.
Scrolling. So, guys, I would
So
say
yeah, I mean,
meditation is
it's just
focus.
about like focus on one task, like kind of isolating your body and your mind into separate things, and kind of
Focusing on one task
ignoring.
at a time.
Yeah, I mean, kind of just ignoring all the extra things, like let all of those extra thoughts bounce and keep yourself focused.
Perfect, man. So, guys, the third topic, the third benefit of like habits, and that actually the third point of habits is, so I would say let's Stephen gets that, bro. What do you think the last habit is? As for you,
The last habit.
yep. What do you think is one more habit which you would really want to suggest that is gonna change people's life?
Ooh, the habit is going to change their lives. I mean, we mentioned working out, reading, meditation,
Planning day
all
out.
those things. Yeah,
What else do we have? So
I
the
mean,
last
to be
one.
honest, I'll probably add sleep somewhere in there. But yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, perfect, man. So the last thing which I would really want to say is gonna change your lives is actually going ahead and cleaning your desk environment. I've really gone over that in brief, but to be honest, my desk really contains of one water bottle, two books, and a pen stand, and this mic, of course. That's it, man. My entire desk is all about that, and sometimes I have my phone, which I really don't. I have it locked
Yeah.
up in a vault, so I don't get distracted of it. But I would really say go ahead, have your bottle, like clean your desk, man. Arrange your desk, man. Have two or two things which you think is really beneficial for you, and go ahead and take that. And the last thing which I can give you on a tip is that you can have a specific incense sticks or some smell dispenser in your room which is gonna elevate your work experience. So what happens is, when I like um smell something which is really powerful, then I get into the work zone. Actually, in the work zone, that's gonna take me for so long. I have immense sticks burning. I rather I have some kind of smell dispenser in my room. If not, I just have some kind of perfume on, which is gonna take me for a bit longer, I guess. So it's just all matters about the things which you really have. You know, like the small little things, details matters, man. And if you do that, it's gonna take you for so long.
Yeah, yeah. I do wanna add something to that. Like, yeah, obviously, it's really important to keep your surroundings clean, with no distractions and stuff like that. But it's also important to restructure your surroundings so that good
You are made for
habits
success.
become easier and
Exactly. Mhm.
bad habits become harder. Like, for example, if you have trouble drinking enough water, like one thing, you can always have a water bottle on your
Or a
desk.
jug, I
If you
would say.
have trouble, if you want to if you want to develop a habit like reading, you can put a book next to your bed before you sleep.
So
If
that
you
keeps
want
you on
to,
the track, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you want to stop eating a bunch of snacks and unhealthy food, just like get rid of them, get them out of your sight, and put some bowls with fruits and vegetables on your counter in the kitchen and things like that. And yeah, just surrounding yourself with things that will make good habits easier and bad habits harder. For example,
Exactly.
even one thing could be like prearranging your clothes, workout clothes, the day before, or laying out your clothes for the day before, just so dressing up becomes much easier and getting
More
out of
effective.
bed. Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Other than that, so guys, I think I have already taken a lot of time from Stephen. He's a busy man. We can't really stress this more longer. But what I would really want to do is I want to wrap up here with one powerful quote from Stephen, and that's actually a religious thing which I do on my channel. I go over podcast. If you see any of my podcast at the end, I have a religious, or actually a religion which I do is I ask the guest for a specific powerful quote they have.
Oh, don't do that.
So, Stephen, man, what do you think is your powerful code, bro?
So whatever I say, it's probably going to sound very smart, right?
Yep. Not really smart, but let's say it's gonna be very life changing for some people. It's gonna be valuable, man. And the values that all that matters.
Life changing. I mean, everything, realize that everything is possible. Like, the sooner you realize that the mind is the only thing that's stopping you from achieving success, that you're your own roadblock, like the sooner you realize that, the sooner,
The
the
better it
less
is.
you will regret it later.
The better it is. And to be honest, I want to comment on that, but actually, I'm gonna add to that quote is everything happens for a reason. Trust God's process, and it's gonna take you for more longer than your each and everything you've ever done in life. Trust God, trust the process, and you don't see success in 1 year. To be honest, Stephen, if we have a true example on our call right now, Stephen has success. As he said, he has been succeeding and trying to success in since the past 2 years at minimum, man. And you
I
have to
mean,
get that.
yeah, I mean, technically, like, even if you count my journey as a content creator, like, you can say that it's been like 7 or 8 years, like, since 2016 or something,
Damn,
when I
bro.
started
That's
content creation.
big. That's big, man. If you understand that, like Stephen, man, he's been grinding since 8 years. Understand the consistency, the amount of discipline he has, guys. So, with that being said, trust in yourself, trust in God, build the habits, implement the steps in the video, in the podcast, and my friend, go take some action. Can't really have some words for you except that. So, with that being said, I would really want to thank Stephen B for being on this podcast and coming out here, helping me, helping my audience, and even, let's say, going through a revision of his own recap time and having a bit of an overview of his entire journey till now. That's gonna help him as well for lasting longer. So, with that being said, we come to the end. And thank you, Stephen, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
man. Thank you for hosting me. It was definitely a pleasure. Can't wait for this to go live. And yeah, you heard him. Go subscribe to his channel. Watch all the other podcasts. And yeah, we're both going to make it big and hopefully do an in person one
In
soon
person,
enough.
man. So very soon, bro.
Yeah, in a private jet,
Private
like
jet,
you said.
in a private jet or in a yacht, man. Both works, I would say. It's gonna be very fucking insane. You're gonna do it, man. So,
Yeah,
ladies and
man.
gentlemen, thank you for watching. I can't thank you more enough for watching the channel. Keep subscribing and yeah, post that bell notification